adversity now. When stuff hits me, if it's very painful, I don't cry easily. I told the devil, I've given you enough tears in this my lifetime. Cannot get me to cry anyhow. I can't do that. I can't give you that pleasure. So when stuff happens, I'm human and I'm a woman. One of the outlets for pain and shock and adversity and anger is tears. We cry and we relieve the tension. So I don't cry easily. But if something hurts me enough and I want to cry, I know that I have to cry because I'm not in denial. I'm not denying that I'm in pain. I say, okay, I'm going to cry because I need to cry. Well, you know what I do? I set a timer. I'm not joking. I set a timer. If the pain is not so bad, but it's up to the one I have to cry, I set the timer for 10 minutes. And I will cry. 10 minutes. Once that alarm goes, whether I'm satisfied with the crying or not, I'm done. I'll get up, stop the timer, and go and wash my face. I'm done. And then I tell the devil, I'll give you the tears, right? Watch me. That's how I stop the enemy from sitting in my head. I'm making me play an adversity round and round and round like a broken record. I'm sitting around the same thing. And guess what? It's a memory that is hurting me. It's a memory. It's a past. Even if it happens 5 minutes ago, it's a past. And it's eating into the present and is marring the possibilities of the future. I can't do that to myself anymore. It's stolen from me now. If the thing is very painful and bad, I set the timer for 1 hour. Then I cry. But guess what? I discovered that every time I've set 1 hour timer, I've never cried for 1 hour. Before the 1 hour is up, the tears are finished. Like, I'm just left heaving like, but I'm not crying anymore. And I discovered, oh, that devil, you lost power there. Because there was seasons in my life I could cry for the whole day. If I took a breath, tears were falling. I was in the kitchen, the tears were falling. People call me on the phone, I have to disguise the fact that I'm crying and pretend to be speaking normal, but the tears are falling. There were times I would cry for days and days and days and days. The devil was having a field day running all over my grave that I had built over myself. Now, I give him time. And because it's intentional crying, he doesn't get the joy he used to get before. Because now he's not sneaking up on me and knocking me to my knees and I'm just crying. Now, I have time to cry. I've decided I'm going to cry. So it's not him making me cry. I'm crying to relieve the tension in my soul. I'm not crying in response to the trouble he brought. And because of that, I take from him the pleasure. Then I have time for the crying. See, I'm telling you the truth. I'm very sure that Satan sits in hell to cry because of me. Like, what am I going to do about this woman? I torment him. And he gives me joy. Where the devil is concerned, I'm a narcissist. I'm stripping him of joy. Anywhere he comes from. I'm sure you'll be surprised that Bethany is not here. So, my son that goes to school in Nottingham, he's upstairs. He came so he can see us because we're going back to Nigeria. But I came with one of my children, one other child. She lives in Houston in the US. She was born sick. That's another level of adversity that I've dealt with. She was born sick and the doctors told me when she was born in the US that she would never be well. They said even when she's well, she will not really be well. They said she will never gain weight and she will deteriorate from birth. That birth will be the best and healthiest she will ever be. That from then on she's going down. They told me she will not keep up with her age mates in school because she'll spend most of her days in the hospital. Everything they told me about that child defines adversity. It was bad. There was nothing nice that they told me about the child. They gave me a bag of medicines. They said these medicines won't cure her, they just help her cope. And they said you have to give her every day, morning and evening. And it was not syrup. It was tablets. And for a newborn, you can't just take a tablet and pop in the baby's mouth. So you break the tablet. I have to give her half in the morning and half in the evening. But you have to grind it. Then you have to put it on the spoon. Then you have to put water. And you have to keep stirring until every particle melts. Otherwise, your baby will gag and throw up. That's a lot of time. Morning and evening. You have to give her morning and evening. I said, for how long? They said, for as long as she's alive. They told me she will not live to be 10. Yeah, she will make it to 10. So they gave me the message. Of course, I started crying. But I forgot I was the woman in God. I preached everywhere. There's nothing God cannot do. God is a healer. Now, I'm faced with the situation and I forgot everything that I knew. My brain became blank. All I could focus on was, Colossians. I was shuffling along with my eyes glued to the problem in front of me. I cried and cried and cried and cried. I was in the US, my husband was in Nigeria. I called him. Hey, Lamentations of Jeremiah. I finished that one and added my own. Jeremiah, they said, oh, then the doctor said, and then the doctor also said, and the doctor said, when I finished, he said, okay, I've heard you. I have one question for you. Are you crying because you believe the doctors? Or you're crying because there's something Jesus can do? Let me tell you one of the things you can do when adversity comes. You have to find your company. You have to find the people who speak into your life, regardless of what's happening. They're telling you Jesus is real. Trust in the Lord. I am here for you. What are you crying about? How can you still be crying? My friend, get out of that chair. Get out of that seat. Get out of that place. You need your own company if you're going to overcome adversity. So, he said, are you crying because there's something Jesus can do? And it was like somebody slapped me away. Hey, sit down. What are you doing? And then I jumped up in the room where I was. Satan! I do not believe you anymore. I changed my mind. Whose report am I believing? The report of the Lord says children are a blessing from the Lord, and the blessing of the Lord makes rich and adds no sorrow. I changed my mind. So I came back home with her with a bag of medicines, and they said to me, you have to come back every year, so we'll give you the next year's supply, but we also want to measure her rate of deterioration. So I came back and we decided, since this, they said the medicine can cure her, so let's go to the one who can. Every day I'll come and I'll bring the tablet out of the bottle, and I'll say to the baby, babe, see what the doctor said I should give you, but hear the word of the Lord. By his stripes you are healed. And I'll put the medicine back in the bottle. I come back in the evening. The doctor said morning and evening. Come back in the evening. The chastisement of your peace was upon him. I put the medicine back. I come back tomorrow. Healing is the children's bread, baby. Eat your fill of it. I put the medicine back. Come back in the evening. None shall be sick in Zion. We found healing scriptures, and we just kept declaring over this child morning and evening. Morning and evening. Sometimes in between when the Holy Spirit will remind me. And I was watching my baby. They told me she would never gain weight. Out of my 7 children, that's the fattest baby we ever had. By the time she was 1, she was round. And she didn't like wearing clothes. She would always be in her briefs, her panties, and running around, and they're just sitting down like a blob on the ground. She was so fat, everybody started calling her Mama. Because of fat. Mama. When she was 1, I took her back to the US. And the first thing I saw on the doctor's face was shock. They didn't expect me back. Actually, that was when they told me she wasn't supposed to make it to age 1. They said they didn't want to say 1 because of how I was crying. So they told me 10. Just to give me prolonged hope and get me out of their office alive. Let me not die there. They said they didn't expect me back. They told me my child had a particularly bad strain of the illness. And that medical science had no answer. They said try and keep her alive. Maybe in 10 years time, medical science will have an answer. All that 10 years they were telling me was, so I will leave their office alive. Let me not die crying in their office. And the man was so shocked to see me. He asked me a stupid question. He said, madam, is it the same child? I said, no, it's not the same child. I got pregnant after I left, gave birth to a child that is 1 year old after I saw you. How is that possible? Even if I got pregnant the day I left you, I'll still be pregnant now. Or the child will at most be 3 months old. Like, he was so shocked, he asked me that question. I don't think he was thinking straight. Is it the same child? I said, no, it's a different child. Of course it's the same child. And he told me, let's keep watching. She's got baby blood. I said, which baby blood? When you were giving me bad news last year, did you mention anything about baby blood? Now you are baffled. You are telling me, I said, it's not baby blood. It is Jesus' blood. So I took my baby and I left. He gave me another bag of medicines. Guess what? I have the 2 bags. Not the 2 bottles, okay? The medicine has molded, turned black inside the bottle. I refuse to throw them away because they're testimonies of the interventions of God in my child's life. The reason why I'm not throwing away the bottles is because you can still read her name on the bottles. You know how they give you a prescription and your name is on? Those bottles have her name. You can still read the name. Guess how old my baby is? She's 28. 28. Now, in 2023, she was 27, 26. We heard of a bone marrow transplant. And bone marrow transplant can put paid to the disease, remove it for life. So we decided, let's go. They said medical science may have an answer in 10 years. It didn't come until she was 26. Who added 16 years to her life? Jehovah, the one who holds life. Okay, so we found a hospital miraculously that was a research hospital in Maryland in the US, and they were going to do the transplant for free. Transplants cost anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million. Wow. So they were going to do it for free, and we got into that hospital. I can't tell you all the story. And the Lord said to me, I want you to broadcast her journey from day 1 till the day she's discharged. I went to the hospital for a year. But the transplant process was about 120 days, 130 days. So from day one, I was live on Instagram and Facebook, sharing her journey with all my followers on social media. And I can't tell you the testimonies that came from strangers following her journey every day. From those who were about to have a transplant, who were afraid. They were from her story, knowing what was going to happen tomorrow in the process, because they were watching her story. From some who heard and quickly applied to the same hospital, and they got accepted because they saw us online. From those who had the courage not to go for their own surgery because they had been afraid to go to the hospital. All kinds of testimonies were coming. And they finished my daughter's transplant. And after the transplant, you have to be in the hospital for 100 days. They have to be sure everything is okay before you can go home. So we are at about day 50 or 55, I'm not sure, somewhere around that window. We go in for a regular, she was going for, we were staying in an accommodation within the hospital premises, but away from the hospital block. So 3 times a week, we had to go back into the hospital block for her checkups. So we go in for one of the checkups, and the doctor is talking, oh, it's good to see you, and then, the team has been deliberating, and we're very sorry to tell you that all your brother's cells are dead, and the transplant has failed. What? Adversity. We've been sharing this story, and people are sharing testimony. How am I going to go back on air and say to people the transplant failed? No, it doesn't look like God. It doesn't sound like God. How did you line up so many miracles only for the transplant to fail? How? My daughter started crying. Me, my tears gathered, and the Holy Spirit said, really? If you cry, what do you want her to do? See, you have to go to the point where you can tell the devil, you know what? I will cry later. For now, wait. Immediately I switched. Said, wait first. I just turned to the doctor. What next? What do we do next? I saw the shock on the team's face. Has she even absorbed the shock of what she just said? I ain't absorbing nothing. Let me keep it aside so it doesn't kill me. What next? He said she can have another transplant. And as I was about to start rejoicing, he said, but not here. We can't do a second one for her. She has to go elsewhere. I just turned my back. You know how the brother of David said to him, what's your problem? You're always doing that. Who have you left the sheep with? Will you get out of this place? David said, what have I done? Is it not just a question I'm asking? And the Bible says he turned his back on his brother and kept asking the other soldiers, what will be done for the person that will kill Goliath? That's what I did to the doctors. I just turned my back on them and said to my baby, will you try another transplant? Even my daughter was confused, like, did mommy just hear? I just came through this nonsense, harrowing, chemotherapy, radiation, and you're asking me? I said, no, we cannot dwell on the past. That news we just got is the past. And we cannot allow the past to eat the future. She looked at me and said, yes, mommy. I said, get up, let's go. We stood up, we left the doctors, we left the hospital. I took her back to Nigeria for some time. Then we came back to the US and found another hospital in California. This time we had to pay. Surgery is $1 million. We started praying, and because she was born in California, we were able to get her insurance. And insurance said, you will take the highest insurance premium, which is $1,000 a month. Pay for 6 months and we will cover 85% of the transplant for you. That's $850,000. And God helped us. We were able to pick that insurance premium up and we started paying. We moved to California. We were in California for 6 months. So now we're left with $150,000. How are we going to pay? I said, my daughter said, Mommy, where are we going to get the money? I said, the God that kept you alive for 26 years. You think he has no plan? The God that brought us here and gave us insurance that will cover $850,000. You think he doesn't have a plan? I said, get well first. We'll pay. Somehow. And my daughter had the transplant in October last year, October 22. I forgot to tell you one more miracle. That when you were looking for a donor match, they said, bring your other children, let's test them. Bring the children that are younger than her. There are 3 of them, but the other one is not well. She's not my... that's another story of adversity. That one is not my biological child, but she's one of my 7. The adversity of that one is that there was adultery in my marriage, and he fathered a child outside the marriage, and I took the child. The child met her mother when she was 20. So that one is not very well either, so we couldn't, and she's not a full sibling, so we couldn't test her. But the 2 that I had after this girl, they tested them, and usually they get a 50% match, they're good to go. Now with technology, 50% is good. So they tested my baby, the last one, and she was a 66% match. I wanted to start dancing like, Father, thank you, I don't have to go outside to look for a donor. He said, hold on, madam, your son, this boy that is upstairs, was 100% match. 100, I mean, he was the exact replica of his sister's parameters to the 0.00006. It was, even the doctors were like, what? I said, God is showing off. Immediately they told me this one was sick. He waited for the next child coming and replicated her DNA in him. Guess what? My daughter's chromosomes are XY now. She's not XX. It's the brother. I thought that you are the real transgender. I said, you go and commit crime now, they'll say it's a man that did it. The brother said, so he donated the stem cells in 2023 and came back last year. He said, Mommy, even if they have to drill through my bone to get my bone marrow, I will subject myself to it because my sister needs to be well. He's upstairs now. He came from Nottingham to ensure that he sees her. He hasn't seen her since he donated the stem cells in September last year and came back to the UK. So I brought her with me so he can see her. You know what they call themselves now? Whenever she calls, she'll say, blood of my blood. Then he will say to her, flesh of my flesh. That's what they call themselves now. But that was another miracle. We didn't have to go anywhere. We had a donor from inside. Now, I did the transplant 22nd October last year, 2024. And it was a huge 100. By the time we were 2 weeks, they said, we are so excited. Now, guess what? In that hospital, my daughter is the first adult that they are doing the transplant for that illness. They're a cancer hospital. My daughter didn't have cancer. My daughter had sickle cell. They had never done transplant for an adult sickle cell patient. They had a pediatric department. So my daughter was a learning curve for them. So they were so excited at the success of her transplant. By day 10, they said to us, your brother's cells in your body are 98%. All of her own cells were dead, only the brother's cells. By the time she was day 50, the brother's cells were 99.8% in her body. That was more than 100% success in medical field. She was supposed to stay for 100 days. By day 80, they said, go home. You are doing too well for us to keep you here for another 20 days. You don't need to be here. We're transferring your care to another hospital in Houston where you live, MD Anderson. MD Anderson is probably number one in America for cancer treatment and transplant. So my daughter is in the care of doctors in Texas because that's where she lives. But my daughter had to rise above the adversity of the failure of the first transplant to face the second one, and here she is. You know, one of the things that is so surreal to me, my daughter, we used to be in hospital every week. Some days she'll be in hospital for 2 days, they'll discharge her, we're back the next day. She couldn't keep a job, but the girl is resilient. With that sickness, she did her first degree. When she did it in 3 years, 2 years and 9 months. Back to back, she took no holidays. She said, Mommy, I was afraid that if I slowed down, they'll tell me to drop out of school because I'm too sick. So I was pow, 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 pow. She told me, they said I cannot go to school. Mommy, I'll not do a 4-year degree. I'll do 2.5, I'll do 3 years and I'll get a first class. She did 2 years and 9 months. She got a first class. The school was so shocked. They gave her scholarship. She finished her master's before she was 21. So she had all her certificates. She will get a job, but she can't keep the job. She's too sick. If there are 30 days in the month, she's probably at work for 4 days. The other days she's in hospital. The company will say, no, we cannot do this. So you have to go. She had no life. So what is surreal to me is we have not been to hospital since October last year. It's amazing me. It's baffling me. I'm like, God, this is a miracle. So whenever we go grocery shopping in her house in Houston, when we come back, of course, she just goes to the house to sit down. If she needs anything, we're going to the hospital. So now I'll be the one to carry everything from the car, take to the house, especially the water that we buy, because she can't lift them. Now we normally buy the one that has about 36 bottles, this size on the table. No, it's bigger than this. It's that one. Raise it up. So that's the size we buy, like the one that is 36 in the pack. So I will lift one pack, and walking from the car park to her apartment, sometimes I stop on the way because it's heavy. And after her transplant, we come back to Houston. We go grocery shopping in January. And I'm bringing the things out of the car. I bring the water and keep it on the ground to empty the boot and close it and go drop the things. I told her, go into the house. I pick up the bags and I turn. And my daughter has lifted the 2 packs of water. 2. Not one. One I carry and I stop. She lifted the 2. I'm like, hey, don't do that. She said, Mom, chill. It's not the same girl. And I had this accident. She's been traveling with me. She's the one caring for me. But her body, they told us that it would take about a year and a half for all the symptoms of the illness to go, that the brain takes a while to register that there's no more sickness. So it keeps triggering pain out of habit. She was going to come with me, but she's in discomfort. So I said to her, no, lie down, it's okay. I'll tell them about you, just that they don't get to see you. But she's upstairs. And she said, really, Mommy, can I stay? I said, stay. You can lie down, it's okay. We're not in a hurry.